Okay, so just to start, obviously this video is going to be very spoiler heavy if you're trying to stay in the dark about this, so don't watch. Good start. So, Zombies is now supposedly over. We got the cutscene, people unlock their trophies, and the words "the end" were put on screen. So, I'd like to talk about some of the things that are annoying me with this ending, and just the storyline in general. Okay, first off, very simple thing. The ending was ridiculously short. We can safely say everyone believed we would get like a mini movie, a cutscene lasting like 10 minutes at least, and wrapping up as many of the loose ends as possible. And of course, what we got was 2.5 minutes, which was one of the shortest ending cutscenes in the whole game, only beaten marginally by Gorod Krovi. So this epitomizes the whole expectation versus reality difference going on with Revelations. And in my opinion, the whole of Black Ops 3 story arc. You can tell the ending is disappointment when the community at large think it sucks. People who've been entrenched in the story since World at War have been fairly dissatisfied with this arc from the beginning, so it's no wonder this ending is even more of a slap in the face to us. So we all hoped that with this cutscene, with this map in general, they would hopefully tie up some loose ends, make this all make sense to us and have a solid ending, which is pretty satisfying. But looking back over it, the only satisfying thing really is that the characters get sent back as Primus. We get to see them as Primus, building the staffs like the same as the scrap. That's pretty cool. But that's it really. Like we get Sophia and Maxis just magically causing a black hole or a wormhole or a singularity or whatever. It's just it, it all goes away. Monty gets his perfect world, lives happily ever after, and we get sent to be the Primus. So, like, why should we care about Monty? What was even the point of sending him back to become Primus? Like, why would he do that? Why would he start the cycle again? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So the only thing is, maybe this is a very slim maybe the super egg will give us an alternate version where I don't know, maybe Takio, who's you see him start taking out his sword. Maybe in this alternate version he decides to actually does take out his sword and just fucking cleaves Monty in half. Like, had enough of your god powers, mate. So I mean, to be honest, I didn't expect many loose ends to be tied up with this game, but they could have at least explained the ones in this game. Like I hope they would explain some of the ones in previous games. I mean, I don't know, that wasn't really going to happen. But at least the ones from this game, like, what are the point of the Shadows crew, and like, why do they have the I think it's the beast symbol. The symbol branded in their hands. Like, what does that? What? How did they get that? What does that mean? Like, how did Richtofen get the Chronorium? What did it teach him? Where did he get it from? I mean, that would be a pretty cool map in itself. Like Richtofen fighting, I'm guessing the Keeper, like Keeper Elders or something. Getting to some kind of council chamber, getting this Chronorium, and I don't know. That would be such a good thing to have in a cutscene. Or I don't know. I don't know if it would be as a cutscene or game, but that was such a good thing to reveal, like to actually explain to us, because it's literally that one description in a picture we got on Twitter that tells us Richtofen found the Chronorium and learned its secrets. Ooh, yeah. More things that I've got written down here is, what was the point of getting those specific souls? Like, what? They never explained that. It's just like Maxis wanted these souls, and then he just falls asleep reading a book. How did we close those universes off, and what was the point of that? And just never mind all the millions of questions from previous games that we had, I guess. So it's no secret that this arc has been much more of a push for a story, much more of an obvious story in your face. So it started in Black Ops 2, and like, it was a bit questionable back then. Like, you could tell it was different. There was something a bit weird about it, like just like the way that mob and Origins in particular were done. The style of it was very, it just stuck out for some reason. I mean, it wasn't bad. Those two maps are actually, I do like them, even though I'm rubbish at them. But I do like them, and I do like the elements of story that they bring. But now continuing off of that, it's way too much in your face. Like, the Origins cutscene was like, oh my god, we're getting a cutscene for the first time, and like, this is massive. This is a big deal. Whereas now every map has an intro cutscene, an outro cutscene, and then an alternate story trailer cutscene. It's like, they're just it. I don't. It's not too much story. It's like they're pushing too much of their opinion of the story. And I know that's kind of silly to say because they did make the story, but it's just annoying. It's like, this is what happened, but we're not going to explain it any further than that. They collect a soul, they collect another soul, they collect another soul, and then something completely different happened. Like that's what takes you out of it. It's in previous ones, important things would happen in the map. So we'd collect the drill rod, we'd collect the focusing stone and see the 115 meteor and blow up the Earth. Like that would be reflective of our actions. Whereas now it's like, okay, we've collected the souls, which we kind of did ourselves, kind of, but it didn't really feel like it. We just do a boss fight and then suddenly we have a soul in this Pokeball, and then we do all that. It doesn't tell us why, and then the Apothicons are back. Just that's just like that's nothing to do with what we were doing. Like we were all expecting some kind of big climax or whatever to explain why we're collecting the souls, why we got the blood vials, what is Monty's plan, what is Max's plan, why is this a good thing? And instead he just sits there. He just falls asleep reading a book. So the story was always meant to be a hidden thing, a side reward for like expert players, and now it's different. I think this is partly down maybe to YouTube culture, where like all the zombie, like, you know, there's a lot of zombies YouTubers who've got massive now, like millions and millions of followers, and so as a part of that, the story isn't this hidden secretive thing. It's now like similarly with the cutscenes, it's now very obvious in your face. This is what happened. This is how I'm telling it to you. Sit down and listen. Like, you know, it's very one-sided, and that doesn't let players, like, you know, express their imagination or whatever. It's just, this is the basic story. You know what I mean? The cutscenes are just in your face, telling the story. It's something that guarantees that everyone will see what they want to show them, which isn't very much in the case of the cutscenes. Like the Origins cutscene showed you know, that was groundbreaking, because it's like, was the whole thing just the kids' game? These are the kids that we've been fighting for all along. Why is Max's hidden? What's going outside? You know, there's a lot of questions at play there. Whereas now it's just, oh, he took his soul. There's literally nothing more to it than that. Like, they just kill the character, take their soul. Great. Yeah, gameplay versus story. Not only has the story completely overtaken the gameplay has been unnecessarily complicated by the story, and I don't know why. Like Shadows is the best example of this, because you have to do the rituals to collect the gate worms to pack a punch, which pack a punch is a fairly basic thing. Like, you just go, you know, just open all the map, maybe do one thing, one step, not this like 12 steps to just pack a punch. Jesus Christ. So doing that has lost the core of what kind of made zombies fun at its basic level. They've combined Easter eggs, like Easter egg story and the core gameplay, which in my opinion is a mistake. So again, it's no secret that this is a massive tangent to the original zombie storyline, but the tone of it is, in my opinion, is just weird. So, and reading people's opinions on the CODS forum, like one thing stood out, and that's the change from dealing with Group 935 and their technology, how they're harnessing all these like fantastical elements for evil, you know, Group 935 creating the wonder weapons and super soldiers and all that. You know, they are explained in those games. Those are reasonable things. Now it's moved on from things like HARP, the Glocker, the Henge, Vril, Nazi UFOs, like things you can actually research, you know, look up online, maybe in one or two conspiracy websites, you know, some pretty dodgy places, but really interesting, to be honest. Just like, even if it's all just bullshit, it's just interesting. It's just fun to look at all this stuff. Whereas now, it's the Apothicons. I mean, the only thing we can look at is Lovecraft, like Cthulhu, but I mean, that's just kind of, I'm pretty sure that's more of a visual inspiration than actual story. And it's just, where do we go? Like, there's no real outside, there's nothing outside the fiction that lets us believe it might be real. Like, things like the Glocker and HARP are real things with conspiracies around them, you know, with many like crazy people suggesting all sorts of things about them. But that's fun to read. That stuff is fun to look up. So where did that all go? Like, I can't remember who said it, but it took us 8 years to shoot a squid with a laser coming out of a book. I mean, Are you serious? No, I don't think anyone imagined that we'd be doing that after the events of Black Ops One or even Black Ops Two. As crazy as that got, it's just even the dragons were a step too far in my opinion. It's just, I know it's meant to be a result of Group 935's research, but it's not something that's believable. Like dragons are not real. I have to stress this. It's just like so like the dragons occur. I mean they hinted at them slowly through Horizon Dragon, like the eggs, the hatchery in Zetsubunoshima and stuff. But what are you meant to do? Just try out like, here's dragons, believe it. And I'm just like, no, I don't believe it. This is bullshit. So if they had focused, I think if they focused on taking down the remnants of Group 935, finding some way to use their technology to undo all of this, or just destroying all their technology, destroying any remnants of Group 935, even if they had to, include the time travel thing, like actually make them go to different universes and time travel or whatever, maybe go back to the start of Group 935 so we get to see it. Get to see this insane technology that they're making, not just some floor flippers in Stalingrad. Like that's the peak of their technology. Is it just some gates that flip up when you go past them? Ah, instead we got complete fiction with no basis in reality. So nothing we could actually look up and expand the zombies universe by ourselves. And so it has no place in zombies that we were used to, really, this new fiction. So even the wonder weapons, like the Apothicon Servant, is just it doesn't look like anything. It doesn't resemble a weapon. It's just a weird squid you put on your arm. And then the Pack-a-Punch cameras as well, like I know they started this in Origins, but it made sense in Origins because there was like these blue 115 rocks everywhere. And it's like, okay, 115 is now blue. And all along we've known the weapons are like infused in some way with 115 to create these super weapons. But now it's just, they're all these different colors and glowing and sparking electricity and it's just a comic book in a game, and it really takes you out of the believability of it. It's like somebody did suggest, I think, in an interview with Jason Blundell, that maybe the different colors are representative of which universe they're in, and I would believe that if you couldn't have multiple colors in the same game, because you can have all these green and yellow and purple. It's like, okay, so 115 is now the rainbow rock, is it? Fine. So to summarize, in a brutal way, the Apothicon story arc was a mistake, one which we could possibly trace to Jimmy Zielinski leaving or being fired. I don't even know what happened. The truth never came out. The link that to Jimmy Zielinski leaving during Black Ops 2, because I don't know in reality who was controlling the story, but definitely after Black Ops 2, definitely Origins was where I first remember Jason Blundell making an appearance. I mean, I like the guy, he's quite funny, but no, his story is not good. It's just, there are too many things that aren't explained. And the way they brought back old characters like Groff and Sophia is just like, they're here now, they're back. And it's like, okay, but why? Why on earth is Groff mentioned in Japan? Why is there a Groff orb? Why did he make it to Stalingrad? It just seems so weird. Like, and then the tone of the game itself just kind of falls flat compared to the original ones, in my opinion. That's what I felt all along, because the community is disappointed with this ending. You can tell everyone's just like, what was that? What was that? What was the point of that? Why did we spend 8 years in this game? And that says it all, really, because even the people who have just kind of joined in this game and got on the hype because of YouTubers, and got on the hype because of all the social stuff, got on this hype train in Black Ops 3, and like, oh my god, we're collecting all these souls of the characters from the old games, even though I don't really know much about them. But now it's not a satisfying ending to anybody who's been with it, for just 1 year, 3 years, 8 years, however long. It's not a satisfying end. And I mean, I've been feeling dissatisfied with this story arc since Black Ops 3 started, like Shadows of Evil, even before it, but just like when the trailer came out, I did actually make a rant video, which I took down because it was kind of embarrassing, but it it just didn't fit. It was not zombies. And now, quite finally, at the time, Vonderhaar was like, he tweeted a photo comparing a Margwa to a Nova Crawler and was like, "Oh, you all say that's a zombie, but this isn't a zombie now. Like, what's wrong with you?" And well, I mean, it was obvious that it wasn't Margwas aren't zombies, and now it's completely confirmed because they're Apothicons, which are literally just space aliens. Space aliens and magic did it all. That's the headline. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.